Thanks for joining. I'm Stephanie Lindloff. I'm an eco-intuitive coach and teacher, and I help women who are busy, anxious, perfectionists in many cases. I help you reclaim your peace through simple moments of connection with Mother Earth. So glad to have you here today. It is spring break for my family. We're at home. We're doing a staycation. But the kids are inside, so I came outside to the car because it's raining outside. Otherwise, I would be out in the garden talking with you. So good to be here again. Right when I started, a female cardinal perched on the bushes right next to me, and oh, there's the male. So isn't that fun? I just love it when birds show up at particular times, just showing that they are present and here. And of course, the cardinal is always related to the spirit world. So cardinals have a special connection with one of my grandmothers. So I feel her presence here today. And today it's a rainy, typical kind of March. And you know what that brings? That brings mud. So I always love to talk about mud at this time of year because it is all around us. And we have such different relationships and associations with mud. So I really wanted to talk about that today because there is so much wisdom to be found through mud. And of course, mud is soil that has become wet or damp. We know that soil holds so much fertility and is a vital part of the growth of plants, right? When things get muddy, we don't like it so much, just like when things get muddy and messy in our lives. And I'm sure that you have experienced this from time to time. Maybe you're going through a little bit of a mud season in your life yourself right now. Totally understandable, very relatable. And so the mud is symbolic of so many things because it really is where everything started from. I love to think of mud as primordial ooze. It's like that stuff that the first beginnings of life on Earth emerged from. And when we think about mud in that way, it really shifts our relationship with it. And perhaps you can even see some of the lessons and the wisdom that mud is providing you in your life at this time of the year, especially if you are in a messy, muddy season in your life. I know that mud and mess can make so many women uncomfortable because for many of us, we were raised thinking that we always had to stay clean, right? That you don't want to go out and roll around in the mud. You don't want to get dirty. You definitely don't want to bring it in the house, right? Because your parents would have not appreciated that in any way. And I think that especially for women, we are conditioned to associate mud and soil with something that is, unclean or unsanitary or something that we need to get off of us and get through as fast as possible. And this can extend to how we view those messy times in our life, those times when things are just, they're off kilter, things are not, coming together in the way that we want. Maybe you have, maybe you're having some health issues. Maybe there's some friction in your family or in relationships with coworkers or your boss or your significant other. These times can bring up so much anxiety and discomfort and just a feeling that something is, quote, wrong, when really we know that we are going to experience these messy, muddy times in our life. That is part of life. That is part of being a human being. And every one of those times offers you something to learn from, some kind of clarity to be received through the mud. And I know that seems like such a counterintuitive way to think about it, that mud can make things more clear, but it's about what the mud represents. It truly represents a time of transformation. And we all know that transformation by necessity involves change. It involves change of some sort. And even more than that, transformation, especially if it is something that you have yearned for, aspired to, hoped for, had intentions for, that transformation requires your presence. So it's not a time to check out or just focus on the clean, nice, tidy parts of your life, but to be present with the transformation. And the mud, Mother Earth, and the mud season is showing us right now, demonstrating for us how being present to what emerges from the mud is everything at this time of year, because all of this life is literally emerging from the earth, re-emerging in many cases, especially in our gardens that are full of perennials and other native plants. And we are able to connect with that life that is emerging from the ground through your presence. The more you're able to connect with all of the potential and the tender new life that comes through that primordial ooze of the mud, the more you are able to be present to what is transforming in your life, especially if you are finding that you are going through a muddy season in your life. And, you know, when it comes time to, just seeing the process of transformation, it can't, a lot of our transformation is internal, right? It's something that's happening within us. So it's not always readily apparent to us. It's not something that we can necessarily, in most cases, see with our own eyes. And so it can be easily dismissed or overlooked or just neglected in many cases, because again, we tell ourselves we want to get through this as fast as possible. And yet, as you know, everything takes place in its own time. There is truly divine timing. And whether you want to associate that with divine timing or simply the timing of natural process, the mud is such a wonderful teacher with this, because it offers us to connect, as I said, more with our presence, but also with that patience that is so necessary when it comes time to moving through a time of transformation. And I'm just thinking, I'm reflecting on my years of experience of exposing mud because before I turned to life coaching for my career, I did a lot of environmental restoration. And the one area that I focused on the most was river restoration through removing old and many times unsafe dams from rivers in order to restore the rivers to healthy conditions. And this, almost in all cases, involved exposing a large area of mud, because dams back up rivers, right? They create impoundments, ponds, small lake kind of environments. When you remove a dam, which is done, very carefully, an engineered removal, you remove the dam, and so the water comes back into the river channel. So the water recedes and it exposes all of the mud and muck that had accumulated behind the dam. Now, this is often referred to as sediment when it's underwater. And when it's exposed, when it's re-exposed, it is mud and muck. And it would be probably the single most difficult time of the restoration process to work with communities and with people to help them understand that this is part of the process. It is, for most people, not going to look great right afterwards, right? And they'll have this visceral reaction of, this is how it's always going to be. We've got to get through this as fast as possible. And really, all it takes is one growing season for that all to green up once again and to become vegetated with plants that are bringing diversity and habitat to that area and helping also to continue restoring healthier environment to that place. And I feel like watching communities go through this process of transformation within their communities was so enlightening for me, and it completely changed my view of mud and the transformation that is possible through mud. So I wanted to share that with you because I think that it's good to know how everything has a process to it. And the more you can stay present and the more you can really connect with your inner knowing that transformation is taking place for you during a muddy, messy time, you can tap into that. It's really a deep wisdom, a wisdom of nature, a wisdom of the more than human world. I like to call it your wild wisdom, can be reawakened through your presence in a time of muddiness. And this is such a beautiful aspect of connecting more deeply with Mother Earth, especially in your garden. And our gardens go through mud seasons as well, right? It can be the time when we are most anxious about what is going to take place because it doesn't look the way that we wanted it to. And yet there is so much life and transformation happening within the earth, and soon it all emerges and shows us how much new growth there is, how many new, plants and flowers and habitats and all sorts of wonderful things are coming available to us to bring us greater peace, greater creativity, greater enjoyment, greater moments of clarity through coming back into the presence in your garden. And this is really at the heart of the eco-intuitive garden. I am about to begin an online class called the Eco-Intuitive Garden, and it would be such a joy to have you join us. This is an online class that lasts 28 days. We begin on April 8th. That's when the first lesson is delivered. And this class is a one-of-a-kind class to learn all about how to create a vibrant, beautiful garden of native plants while developing your intuition, while awakening that wild wisdom that you hold within yourself. And you are directly healing Mother Earth through the process. So the whole transformation and healing process is truly amplified through the fact that you are bringing healing to yourself and to Mother Earth. I would love for you to join us in that class. You can check out the link down below in the description, or you can go to my website at ournaturalwisdom.com and click on Work With Me. There you will see a link for the course, The Eco-Intuitive Garden. Now, I would love to take just a moment here to invite you to come into presence in this moment. Take some nice deep breaths, bringing your awareness to your heart. Maybe hearing the sounds of the raindrops, reminding us that where there is mud, there is the element of water. And that water is so connected with your emotions. And the combination of soil and water creating that place of transformation within the earth, that place where new seeds of life can emerge. So I invite you to think of a place in your life right now that feels a little bit muddy, maybe a little bit messy. It might bring up some discomfort, even bringing your focus on it. Hold that lightly. Hold it with so much love and self-compassion, knowing that this time, this part of your life that feels a bit muddy, a bit messy, begin to see that as a time of transformation. A time where everything is coming together in a new way, providing new growth, providing new wisdom to you. And just pausing here to listen for your intuitive guidance, listen for the language of your soul. What are you meant to learn through this time? What is the mud teaching you at this time? And inviting any message from your beautiful soul to help you see your path of transformation. What is your soul sharing to you in this moment about this time of transformation in your life? What beautiful growth, what will bloom as a result of this transformational time? What will bloom as part of this transformational time? And taking in that message, feeling how your soul has so much wisdom, and even if you're not hearing words, just be in this moment of connection with your soul, with your intuition, with the wisdom of mud, the wisdom and the support of Mother Earth. And allowing yourself to integrate all that you have just received so that it can go on informing you, calming you, bringing you greater clarity about whatever muddy, messy time you are going through right now. And the trust in the transformation that is happening. And bringing your awareness back to the present, opening your eyes, wiggling your toes and your fingers. And I encourage you to connect, be more attentive, more aware of mud in your environment. And if you find yourself immediately going to that place of, I don't want this, I need to avoid this, gently remind yourself that this is nothing to be avoided. In fact, it is where the growth happens. It is where transformation is possible, in that mud. In that mud in your yard, in that mud in the park, in that mud in your day-to-day life, if you are going through a muddy, messy season. Come back to that wisdom of your soul and remember that this is your time of transformation and growth, and soon you too will bloom. Thank you so much for joining me today for another episode of Reclaim Your Peace with Mother Earth. And if you are interested in checking out my online course, The Eco-Intuitive Garden, please check the link out down below or go to my website at ournaturalwisdom.com. Click on Work With Me, and there you will see the link for the Eco-Intuitive Garden. Thanks again. Have a beautiful week. I look forward to seeing you again next week, April 2nd, at my regular time, 2 p.m. Central Daylight. Thanks again. Have a great week. See you later. Bye.